Hello, I'm Tom Stalick. As you probably can guess, I play point guard on the 1983 basketball team. Well, okay, maybe not, but I should have anyway. All you had to do was dribble the ball real fast, call out the plays. Except we had this point guard, left-handed guy named Carey, who was pretty good at dribbling the ball real fast and calling out the plays. Coach Barrett decided he should play the point guard instead of me. Not a bad decision. Chris did such a good job that they inducted him into the Hall of Fame last year. Congratulations, Chris. Sorry, I couldn't make the ceremony. Okay, so playing the point guard was out, so I thought maybe Coach would let me play the shooting guard. You don't get to handle the ball as much, but at least you get to shoot it all the time. Unfortunately, that spot was already taken. We had this really amazing athlete. You might have heard of him. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011. In fact, I'm pretty sure Lindley has been inducted into the Hall of Fame at every school he's ever played at. From Third Grove Elementary to Lindley College. That guy was awesome. So the next spot was a small forward. I could have played that spot. All you had to do was shoot the ball every time you got it. You didn't have to play any defense, and you just cherry pick out at half court calling for the outlet pass. The problem was we had this guy who played that spot perfectly. Kirk Tibbetts. Kirk Tibbetts. The year before, Kirk scored 37 points in a double overtime game win against Hermiston. That guy could put the ball in the basket. So there was no way a coach was going to let me play the small forward. So Paul Williams and I, we got stuck down in the trenches under the basket playing the power forward and center position. Paul and I got to do things like play defense. Pass it to Chris. Block out. Pass it to David. Rebound. Pass it to Kirk. It was hard work, but somebody had to make those guys really good. So that was the starting five. Chris Carey, David Lindley, Kirk Tibbetts, Paul Williams, and me. The first game of the season, we beat South Salem 91-56. South Eugene. Imagine scoring 91 points in 32 minutes. No three-point line and no shot clock. A few weeks later, we beat South Albany 90-48. Our team could have definitely put up some points. So now, believe it or not, I have a degree in mechanical engineering. It's true, yeah. In case you don't know, engineers like to do calculations. So bear with me while I do some math. 91 points in 32 minutes equals almost 3 points a minute. But assume we only have the ball on offense about half the time, say 16 minutes. Then assume we only made about half the shots we took. So 91 points divided by 16 minutes divided by 2 points per shot made times 2 shots taken for each shot made divided by 60 seconds per minute. Well, anyway, let me simplify that for you guys who went to Linfield. We shot the ball about once every 10 seconds. So in the time since I started talking until now, we would have shot the ball about 20 times. What that meant was a lot of blocking out and rebounding from me and Paul. A lot of shooting for those other guys. We had a pretty deep bench too. In fact, many of them went on to play college sports. They were all good athletes who probably could have started on any other team in the league. Guys like Mike Loney and Reid, who played the point guard and the shooting guard. Damon Lyles and Rod Smith, and Kevin Lute and Bill Bailey, who played the 2 and the 3. Doug Grant and Bill Vernard, who played down under the basket. They got to come in when one of the stars got in foul trouble. typically me or Paul from helping out on defense. And when the other guys got tired from dribbling the ball so fast, and shooting it so much, and when we got way ahead, which happened quite a bit. They were great teammates. We had a lot of fun together, both on and off the court. It was Coach Barrett's job to keep the group in harmony. And with so many good athletes, it's amazing we didn't have any complaints about playing time or individual stats. I have 4 kids of my own, and I have coached many of their teams. And that's really made me appreciate the job the coaches did with this team. Coach Barrett, Coach Roberts, Coach Zgorzelski, and Coach Taylor, they're not here, but they were part of the team too. It's not easy developing a practice plan for the season or each day's practice plan, coming up with drills and plays to keep things interesting for the team, scouting the other teams to figure out what the best strategy is for each game, sometimes having to deal with parents and members of the community, second guess your decisions. All that while working a regular 40-hour-a-week job. So I speak for the entire team when I say, in saying we appreciate all your efforts and the sacrifices you made to make this a great team. Thank you very much. So on behalf of the 1982-83 boys basketball team, I'd like to thank the West Albany Sports Foundation for inducting us into the 2015 Hall of Fame. It's truly an honor to be part of a group that includes such great people as Tom Holman, Jim Luster, and Loney. And all the others that have contributed so much to the community. And thanks to everyone who came to the banquet tonight. Keep up the great work in supporting West Albany sports. Go Bulldogs.
Yeah, what a great group. I think that the planners here want us to stay up here on the platform, and I think the other inductees are going to come up. Is that the plan, Rich?
Yeah, I'll take it from here, Duane.
All right. Winning the 3rd place trophy in basketball at the AAA state tournament. We had beaten David Douglas and South Eugene in earlier tournament games, but lost to Glencoe in the semifinals of the tournament. The 3rd place trophy was not really what we wanted when we got up there, but we finished higher than 77 other schools in that category. And Glencoe was a very good team, so it was an all-around good feeling after the tournament. This team had a season record of 23-3, as Rich commented, which is the best season record up to then, and still the case of any Bulldog basketball team. The seniors on the team, the class of 1983, had qualified for the state tournament. In that classification, it was the 80-some biggest schools in the state, 3 straight years. They had gotten into the semifinals when they were juniors and had won the league with that year. And in the 1983 season, lost only to the 1st and 2nd place teams in the state. It is noteworthy that the attendance for that semifinal game in '83 at Portland's Memorial Coliseum was 10,600, which means it was filled to capacity. So these guys, I feel, had a chance to play in a sense, the golden age of high school basketball in Oregon in that 16-team tournament that they used to have. And it was a great experience to be there in those years. These guys played the game the way it was supposed to be played. They conducted themselves really well on and off the court, and were a credit to their parents, their school, and the community. Perhaps most important, We had a lot of fun. And they were supported in an exemplary way by the students at the school and the community in general. All of us associated with that team, I'm sure I speak for all the players here tonight, and thanking everyone who put together the Hall of Fame program. And I know that it's certainly a thrill for me to have this ball club selected for that. It's a pleasure for me to introduce the members of the team individually, and I'm proud to say that we had a really good turnout of members of the team, and we had breakfast this morning and were able to tell a few stories, and it's just been a really great day. So I'm going to introduce each of them individually and make a brief comment about them, and probably in the interest of time, if you'd hold your applause until I'm through the group, that would keep the program moving along. So let me start with commenting about Coach Roberts. I guess you can tell which one's Coach Roberts without me telling you. And Coach Roberts had been an all-state player himself in high school on a state championship team. Came to Albany, became the varsity coach after I became the athletic director, and had a state runner-up team in '91, and they are part of the Hall of Fame. And Coach Roberts was a great part of the success of this team. As far as individual players concerned, I will talk about first some people who are not here, although we did have most of the players able to make it. But we did have one sophomore on the team that year. Bill Bailey was his name. Bill didn't get a lot of action, played mostly JV, but Bill became a starter on the Bulldogs the next couple of years. Bill was a really great shooter. Played a couple of years of basketball at Northwest Christian College. Then juniors on the team, we had Bill Vernard. Bill wasn't able to make it. Bill lives in Cincinnati. Bill went to University of Montana, played football up there, was an all Big Sky conference, all conference center. Went on to coach as an assistant at Montana. He's back in Cincinnati now, where he's a stay-at-home dad with 4 daughters. Interesting side fact, perhaps, is that Bill was a good friend at Montana with Coach Tinkle, the new basketball coach at Oregon State. Next, I want to introduce, and maybe he can raise his hand so you can pick him out of the group, Kevin Lute. Kevin was another junior on that team. He's class of '84. Kevin was a very good basketball player. As a senior, we were really a pretty good team again. Kevin struggled with a back that would now and then act up on him, or we'd have been better because we were a better team with Kevin. But Kevin had a good season, and I'm glad to hear that his back troubles are over and he can live a normal life. But I wish he would have been play all the games that we played when he was a senior, because he was a good player. Paul Williams was our other junior. Where's Paul? Paul happened to be one when the team was selected, and I was helping Sally find the people. Paul was one that I didn't know what had happened to Paul. Paul had moved into Albany from Texas, and then moved back to Texas. But Paul was a junior starter, became a very good player as a senior, was all conference. Paul played 2 years of college basketball for Southwestern University, and now lives in Dallas, and came from Dallas to be here, along with it, brought his wife along. So that's the underclassmen. Then talking about the 9 seniors, first I have Roger Reid. Roger was a point guard, really good defender. Paul made sure that Carey and David Lindley didn't get any easy baskets in practice. Made them work hard and helped them become the all-state players that they were. Paul played both basketball and baseball in high school, was student body president, Roger, and went on to become a state policeman, the governor's bodyguard, a member of the SWAT team, and an expert fisherman. Roger, buddy, Damon Lyles. Damon played a wing position, really good athlete, playing football, basketball, and baseball at West. Great team member, played football at Linfield, was selected as the most valuable defensive player on the in the national championship victory when Linfield won the national championship. Damon lives in Canby now. Rod Smith was a wing player also, really good shooter. As is the case of many of the guys on this team, would have started on many of the teams in the Valley League. Paul played a season of basketball at an LBCC after he graduated. Do I keep saying Paul? Yeah, Rob. Thanks for the closing, guys. I need it. Okay. Doug Grant. Doug is one of two players that passed away, and Doug was one of our bigs, as they say in the NBA. Absolutely great human being. He and Chris, good friends. Chris told me that no one will ever have a better friend than Doug Grant. When Dean became the varsity coach, he created an award called the Doug Grant Team Spirit Award. And Doug was lost to cancer in 1992. He's represented here tonight by Sister Kathy. Kathy's a teacher up in the Portland area. Then Mike Loney. Mike passed away just a few years ago, represented here tonight by his daughter Izzy, and also his daughter Olivia, who came from Hawaii to be here tonight. Mike was an excellent basketball player, was a little bit unfortunate in being a point guard behind an all-state point guard, but Mike was one of those guys who played football, suffered a serious injury in one season, also ran track. And Mike was a pleasure to coach and a very great competitor. And Mike, did I get mixed up on this? Did I say the right people? Mike's daughters are here, and that's Olivia and Izzy. Okay. All right. Let's see. Kirk Tibbetts was a starter, 3-year varsity member, good shooter, could take it to the basket. One of the state tournaments, I remember Kirk got 31 against Hermiston, I think maybe. Kirk played college basketball at Lewis and Clark, and got out of law school up there and passed the bar, and Kirk's here in Albany. David Lindley played the 2-guard position, was selected on the all-state tournament team his senior year, hit the game winner against McMinnville in the 3rd place game after a pass from Tom Stalick. David went to Linfield, was the MVP of the national championship football game. He played baseball also at Linfield, football and baseball and basketball at West. Lives in Southern California, around the corner from Chris Carey. Chris was here last year as an inductee as an individual, and also an excellent golfer, played in high school. He played basketball at Division I, University of Idaho, where he was a starter as a senior, while breaking his leg. Chris was started every basketball game for 3 years at West, led us to 3 state tournament appearances, and I think he could have started for any basketball team that ever played at West Albany. Finally, our big guy, Tom Stalick. Tom was a great dunker, and a great outlet passer. And our style of ball was such that Tom would rebound or take the ball out of bounds and pass the ball. He really had to hustle up court or the ball was going to be on its way to the basket before he ever got there, because we got up and down the court. Tom went to Idaho and started for 4 years. And I don't know that any other Bulldog basketball player ever started 4 years at a Division I school. Besides that, Tom was a great citizen, and he went to Idaho in mechanical engineering, and he works for a paper company. What's the name of that place? Capstone Paper up in Longview. I guess it's okay to tell one story of something that I remember from ball games. One of my good memories, when this group was seniors in '83, we had finished second in the league to South Salem, and so had to go through some playoff games to get to Portland. And we beat Dallas pretty handily, and then we needed to get by Lake Oswego, who had been a power in the state for years. And Lake Oswego, we played them in the semifinals the year before, and we really weren't very fond of Lake Oswego. In that game before, we late in the game put Mike Loney on a kid that was our top scorer, and Mike was keeping him from getting the ball. And the coach from the football, the guy from the football team said, trash talking him. And so we were anxious to beat Lake Oswego. And we got off to a little bit of a slow start. I guess we were probably a little tight because we were expected to beat them and wanted to earn that trip to state. So really early in the game, we ran a special play, which we'd save only for certain occasions. And Chris brought the ball down the court after Tom took it out of bounds. And David came up and set a backpick on Tom's man, and Chris threw this beautiful pass high above the basket over on the right-hand side. Tom went up and threw it down with authority, and our stands just went wild. Our kids about blew the roof off the gym. And Tom headed up the floor nonchalantly like Tom usually did. And the Lake Oswego kids had quit written all over them. And we ended up beating them 71-35. And that's not because our first five played the whole game or anything like that. So I apologize for my confusion with names here. I'll attribute that to old age, I guess. It seems appropriate that you hear from one of the players, and I asked Tom if he would say a few words to you, and I will conclude myself as saying, great group, a lot of fun to coach, and I don't know what more a coach could ask from a group of guys than what they gave all of us, and I'm very proud to be associated with this group and very happy to see them in the Hall of Fame. So Tom,